It says Saudi Arabia on the right, on the left, so I'm taking Saudi Arabia.
In capitals, by the way. Arabian. Harry's still yet to pick a car.
I think he's in Aston Martin, I think.
Normally.
I can't see the stream. Oh, I can see the stream. There we go. Good evening everyone and welcome along to FRL. We are here for F1 2021. It is F1, it is Season 13, Round 23 of the Championship as we take the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from, of course, the Jeddah Corniche circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always on a Tuesday night, and joining me in the comment box, it is Michael F1. Michael, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm much better than that little name correction that you just gave me. But I'm welcome to be here for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix for the title decider properly, with Jensen leading the way by quite a long way, I imagine, by around 38 points, I think. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this race. Hopefully there'll be a lot of commotion.
I hope there is a lot of commotion, but I hope there's a lot of good driving as well, because I normally commentate around here in Saudi Arabia, and I've got to be honest, the amount of racing and the amount of overtaking that you will see tonight will be absolutely phenomenal, and I'm sure all of these guys, no matter the outcome, is going to be had. 40 points is the advantage for Jensen over Baraka. Jensen basically then needs to win. Baraka, basically, Jensen needs to win to wrap up the championship. Baraka, however, needs to win, and Jensen basically needs to DNF for him to be within a chance of actually wrapping up the title decider, of course, next season. Jensen, though, had on top 327 points. Baraka in second on 287 points. Lou there in third on 215. His battle for third looks like it could be wrapped up tonight as well. Kvyat Christmas in fourth. He got his podium reinstated after a stewarding decision. Yona there in fifth on 140. Physico in 6th on 128, Nathan in 7th on 110, Rocco in 8th on 102, Kazizel in 9th on 95, and MedTC in 10th on 72 points. But of course, Jensen leading the way, 40 points the advantage. All he needs to do is keep it on track and hope that Baraka just falls under his skin and Jensen wraps up the championship tonight.
Yep. It's pretty simple and done when you say it like that. All he has to do is just keep him in his sights and he's won the championship. But this is a track that can easily catch you out because it's a very high speed, very quite scary in a way. Because if you lose your little your rear end, you could end up in the wall easily. Because there's not enough runoff area in this Saudi Arabia Grand Prix at all. So every corner is quite crucial around here because. How fast would you want to take a corner around here? Would you want to take it in 5th gear, 6th gear possibly? Every corner is rapid around here, if people don't know. Yeah,
every corner is absolutely rapid around here. I think this track can be taken 80% full throttle. It's even better than the Temple of Speed, of course. That is Monza, with 73% of flat-out corners through there. And even Saudi Arabia is the fastest street circuit as well on the F1 calendar. Jack Newman, though, in the comment section, I think that's Jacko, if I'm not mistaken, in the comment section, saying predictions. We'll come to them, of course, in qualifying. And I can still hear, by the way, somebody cooking in the background, so it might be wise to maybe plug in your headphones, because I can still hear myself coming through the TV as well. And Jack Stegel as well, of course, in the comment section. How are you, James and Michael? We are doing very well, of course, prepared for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. 25 laps, of course, awaiting our drivers out on track. Short qualifying, it is 6.1 kilometres in length this track as well. It is the fastest street circuit out of anywhere in the world. And, of course, it might be the case where this could be the final time we actually see Saudi Arabia on the F1 calendar, because apparently it's rumoured that they're going to be moving to a brand new multi-purpose circuit in 2023.
I really hope not, because I think this track has still got a lot to come. I think there could be a few adjustments, obviously, to have more runoff area, because obviously we see in real life it wasn't as favoured as the drivers just a race round, but with little adjustments here and there, it should be fine because it is really a nice track to drive around for a single lap.
T-Hawk saying the maximum amount of safety cars is 5, correct? Yes, I think so. I think the maximum amount of safety cars is 5. Hopefully we don't get that many safety cars, I've got to be honest. This track normally is traditionally known for overtaking. A lot of overtaking, especially down in towards turn number 1. I covered the PSGL Esports Cup event around here. Jensen was part of that day, and he was absolutely rapid that day, and he was towards the front end of the field, so it remains to be seen, of course, whether he can continue on from that very good form. We are waiting on Rocco, apparently, to join. He is running a little bit behind schedule. He is not replying to anyone by the looks of it as well, so it might be the case where we get going very soon indeed. Henry does need to select a car. I think he might have to select the Aston Martin, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll be through all safety cars after 15 laps. It depends, honestly, how, obviously, the safety cars approach. But yeah, I know from my perspective, I've commentated a race where there's been 5 safety cars. That was around Belgium, and we only got, I think, 3 laps worth of full racing in that entire race. It's a little bit longer here in Saudi Arabia, so maybe push that to 4 laps maximum of racing around here. And you never know, it could be like the real life Grand Prix where we get red flags and restarts.
Yeah, I mean, especially when in that first sector, which is the only twist and turning throughout the race, and quite narrow as well when you think about it, so there could be a few safety cars coming up just by in that sector alone, especially in the first lap, so I'm expecting a safety car then, but I know I'm looking forward to this qualifying and Grand Prix itself. How do you think it's going to turn out?
I think it'll turn out quite well. I think, honestly, my top 3 prediction going into qualifying is this. Jensen, I think, is going to be rapid, and I think he's going to go on to pole position. I just think he's got the pace, and I think this is his track to really defend his crown coming into, of course, the end of the season, of course, Abu Dhabi to come up next week. But I think Jensen will wrap up pole position. Second position, I really want to say Baraka in second. I think if they both side by side, down in towards turn 1, we could see blows coming to head. We've had it so many times this season where they've been close to contact, but I'm hoping that it's Baraka and Jensen on the front row of the grid in the reverse order. Jensen, of course, on pole, Baraka second, and in third, I'm going to go for Christmas. I think, again, this is his track, possibly to try and shine, of course, after, obviously, the contact in Mexico last week. Remains to be seen, of course. 15 drivers, though, about to get going out on track. And what is your top 3, Michael, for qualifying?
Mine's pretty similar, but I think, because of the form recently, in recent weeks, I think Baraka might nick it. Just out of nowhere, because I think Jensen might take it quite cautiously. I'm not too sure, but I think Baraka will be pole from my point of view, with Jensen second, and with Christmas third. So I agree with you on that one.
Interesting indeed. Jensen, however, is the first man to come out on track. Of course, the recent patch update has fixed a pit glitch around here. Now, I was not aware of the pit glitch. I didn't know what it was, and well, we're just going into a bit of the dark, but it has been fixed, apparently. Jensen was the first man out on track. Baraka and Christmas, interestingly, though, following. So the 2 championship contenders, Jensen and Baraka, first 2 men out on track. And I think that's absolutely crucial, because obviously the conditions, it is going to be midnight conditions, I think. I have said the weather correctly, and it is going to be changeable conditions, of course, within the race. Normally we expect dry racing around here as well. But Jensen, what does he have to do, ideally, to pretty much guarantee himself of a championship victory tonight?
Well, as I said before, I think he just needs to get in Baraka's view, really. He just needs to stay close to him position-wise, and he's wrapped the championship. But he's no stranger of winning championship in this league. I think he's won it back-to-back, I think, on last year's game. So he's no stranger to this kind of pressure. I think it will just be his element to be in this position. But around this new track, though, with a championship beside it, it could all change for him.
It could all change indeed. Of course, there are 27 corners around this track. We'll probably get lost around the way on this lap with Jensen, just as you will, I think, at home as well. Of course, 25 laps awaiting the guys out on track, but this is qualifying, and this is Jensen going on to his flying lap, and comes across the line with 2 minutes gone already in the session. On the run down in towards turn number 1, will break just after the 100-metre ball, gets the car turned in nicely for turn 1, and then through the right-hander, of course, of turn 2. Kind of catch the curb slightly, then to the left-hander of turn 3, just taking the wall there slightly, as now he comes through the flying section of turns 4, 5, 6, 7, and then through turns 8 and 9, which is this left and right, and then through turn 10. Already we've covered, I think, half the corners throughout this circuit. He runs wide slightly, but through the first sector, Jensen, 30.1, exactly where he wants to be in terms of a first sector. Baraka, I think, is going pretty much around that in behind, but Jensen now coming to the left-hander of turn number... Well, I'm getting lost on the track already. Turn 13, through 14, through 15, and then in towards the right-hander of 16 and 17, through the left-hander of 18, and then through the S-section, this flying S-section, which you can take flat out through 20, and now on the run towards the fearsome turn 23, which is this one coming up, 57.3, through the middle sector from Jensen. He flies through the middle sector there, through 23, 24, and 25, and now through the kink of 26, which is this next corner coming up, and then through the left-hander of turn 27. Hope he kept up with that lap. Jensen is coming through the final corner now, and he is on board. We're still on board with him on this lap. He opens up the DRS range around about now and will carry the speed on the run to the line. Jensen expecting to go quickly, and he does. 26.7 to start off the 9. There is the benchmark laid. Baraka, interestingly, as well, on that set of medium compound tyre, and he comes across the line. He's around a second off Jensen's pace, which is what I think you come to expect around here. But Jensen out on top, Baraka in second. First blows to Jensen, but not by much because his teammate goes into second.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Jensen. It's just like blink and you miss him. He was just on one corner, and then the next corner he was just taking it with no prisoners whatsoever. He's really found his form around this track. Obviously, he had a victory in a previous league, and he clearly brings it into this one. As we see some traffic in the middle sector with Kazizel. He's on his outlap. As you see, who's on the medium tyres? Stephen. Let's see what he can do on his debut as a reserve driver for McLaren. I think this is his debut start for FRL, I believe. Yep, and he's set a personal best. Very good middle sector here. No traffic ahead of him. Straight down the third gear. Early shift into fourth to control that tyre spin. He might get a little benefit of his slipstream, but I really doubt it. But all the way to the line. Where's this going to put him? 29.3. 28.3, sorry. So not too bad on his debut, 10th position. But let's see what...
As Mentos nearly lost out at the final corner. Sorry to cut in there. I was on board with Mentos. He was on a lap. I think he picked up damage, though, on that lap. Left side end plate damage on the car coming back into the pit lane. And Mentos did a Max Verstappen in qualifying. Remember where he hit the rear wall? He got too far off to the right-hand side, and he pretty much snapped it on the rear end. That's exactly what Mentos did. Luckily, he's still in the session. That could have easily ended up in a little bit of a pocket there for him. Kazizel, by the way, is now on a flying lap. The Shazoo man, of course, they're in 12th position. 144 flat. There is a middle sector. There's a McLaren off in the middle sector, and Kazizel's actually invalidated on his out lap. And McLaren, I think, was Stephen, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, it was Henry.
Well, Stephen got an invalid lap, and, well, so is Henry as well. They both got invalid laps. And who else is on the lap? Obviously, because there's always got an invalid lap. I think that was in that.
MedTC hitting the wall, just coming through the first sector as well. He's actually, I think, the next one to come on a lap, and he flies through the first sector. 30.3, so he's around 2 tenths off Jensen's first sector time. He's aiming to go, I think, around Petterville, Harmon sort of area, around about there. And the Finn, of course, formerly of F1 Esports Challengers, can he have this challenge put in his back pocket and try and challenge the circuit of the Jeddah Corniche circuit here tonight as MedTC now comes through the S section. He's not looking too bad on this lap because Izzle, by the way, did invalidate on the lap as well, so he's obviously going to be improving. MedTC actually went down to a very high 7th gear running through the corner there, through the S section. You can run wide, of course, but one thing about this track is you've got pretty much no track limits. You can extend the track as much as you like, and that is just purely to get the run on your lap. Jensen leading the way though, Christmas in second, Lou in third. There's the top three at the minute. Med-TC though aiming to go around this sort of area through the final corner. He does look a little bit slow compared to the top three of Med-TC now on the run to the line. I will be wrong if this is the case. He goes to fourth, right in the middle of Lou and Petter Vols. He splits the both Red Bulls. Med-TC fourth, 27 flat and 27-1 even, and that wasn't a bad lap actually on the face of it. He's 4/10 off Jensen. Jensen though holding all the aces, and Alfa Romeo of course currently in a 1-2 scenario.
Yeah, and I think Jensen will be very happy with that. Christmas can play the team game when it comes to the race, but it's all about the start when it comes to it. But a fantastic lap from Mads. He actually hit the wall, I believe, on the exit, so he could have lost a tenth or two. He could have got third there ahead of Lou. So what a stonking lap from Mads. He was even fastest in the middle sector as well. So he can definitely improve on that, as the only person out probably on a first final lap it will be Mentos in a Ferrari, which he's gone a little bit wide, but I think he's just going to heat his tyres. And just waiting. And off he goes. And open the DRS as soon as you can to get that extra speed. Try and pretty much use your hot lap as late as possible, because obviously it does drain your battery around here on a single lap, your hot lap. But he cuts in well. Hopefully he's got no traffic ahead of him, which he doesn't. He's on track limits, of course, because on the first sector is pretty much deadly on track limits, but everywhere else is pretty much okay. Just keep it nice and tidy. You don't have to tack it too much. Keep it in track limits. Quick right, quick left, and now he goes a little off on the throttle there, but he managed to get away with it. And it's all pretty much flat out from here. Like fast left-hander all the way down to fourth gear, putting up to fifth. And just by that camera angle, it's just immense, just coming through those corners. But I think he's got traffic ahead of him now. Hopefully he won't stall him as he managed to get out of the way. That was Mads, I believe. And ooh, looked like he'd hit the wall there. Was that like a AI taking over?
No, I think that was a bit of desync possibly from Mentos. He is coming through the middle sector now, and he's into the final sector even. That didn't look like a quick first sector though. 30.6 through the first sector. He is 5/10 off Jensen, and I think he's around a second off Jensen just through this middle sector alone. So Mentos now through the final quarter. Christmas has crashed, coming through the S section of, I think that is turn 7 and 8. And he is obviously now out the session as well. And that, in fact, that's actually through turn 4 and 5. Mentos, however, to the line, around about a second off Jensen's lap time. Jensen there out on top. Just trying to pick out on who might be coming through that section. There's a McLaren certainly coming through that section. There's Henry. And we'll see where Christmas actually went off. And the car is gone, but I think it was through the right hand of turn 5 there.
Yeah, possibly. I didn't see it myself. He must have just lost the back end. On a flying lap, I believe. So, unfortunately for him, he's still got P2, as you saw, Petterville hitting the wall, and it looks like he's just backed out of his lap. So he's probably have damage now. He's going to come in for a new front wing.
Ooh. Harman 3/10 up, coming to the final corner as well. The Mercedes, of course, now joining ETA, formerly, of course, of NRX, and now he is on the run to the line. And he does improve, 0.3 per second, 27.2. The start finish line, by the way, is very deceiving in terms of where it actually is located on the down and towards turn 1. I always think it's a little bit further up the track rather than further down the track is what it is. Jensen though out on top, Christmas in second, Steven now goes third. Of course, the German of LOE fame. Of course, he was an LOE Division 1 driver last season, and he did do quite well. I think he was only reserved for a couple of rounds, but he did do quite well in his results. And Steven there in P3, Lou there in P4, and Lou is actually coming through the middle sector now. He's 800s up on his time, so he looks like he's going to go ahead of Steven, possibly ahead of Christmas here, and if he can go really for a good final sector in, he could be latching on to the back of Jensen's lap time, maybe even challenging him for provisional pole at this stage. But Jensen leading the way, Christmas in second, Steven in third. Around 6 minutes ago, still in the session. Lou is coming around the final corner though, as we ride on board with the Red Bull. Of course, the Dutchman will be hoping for a good lap. He's not going to come in the pit lane on the run to the line, and he does go third, 26.9, and a very good lap. He goes nearly in the middle of both Alfa Romeos, but Jensen out on top, Christmas second, Lou in third, and I think Jensen is also on a lap as well, and he's 7/10 down. He's backed out through the first sector.
Yeah, he lost it on the exit of the final corner of the first sector, so he wasn't improving there. Hopefully, it will go again. He'll still have the tyre to do it because tyre wear is pretty good round here. You can actually go quite low, and it's easily a one-stop for all drivers if there's no safety cars. As we're on board with Kazizel, hopefully getting his good lap in. With the first sector, and it's just proved that he's gone fastest of all in the first sector, but he's got traffic ahead of him though. I can really cross him in the corners. If you get in the dirty air in these fast speed corners, you're just going to lose front end downforce. Luckily, he jumped out of the way and he can get back on that gas pedal as soon as he can, scraping the wall. It's how dare can you get close to the wall? And he's putting.
This is good.
It's like he's putting his whole life on it, and it's fast as a ball in the middle sector. This could be a pole here for Kazizel.
Oh wow, this is quick. Kazizel is going like an absolute bat out of hell, and Kazizel at the minute, of course, he's at 138.1. That inevitably is going to be a lot quicker. Purple in the first, purple in the middle sector. He's going quicker than Jensen, coming through the final corner now. This is an electric lap time from Kazizel. If this doesn't go pole position, I'll be shocked. Kazizel now on the run to the line. He does go pole, 26.5, and that is how you respond to being off for a couple of weeks. Kazizel is back and back with a bang. Shazoo 1-2 at the minute. Jensen back into the pit lane, but Kazizel 26.5. We will get into the nitty gritty later on in the session, but that lap time I think might take the lot of beating here tonight.
Yeah, I think he's going to park the car now and just say job done, because that was a mental lap just by watching it, especially just those corners. How much risk he took. I thought he was going to lose time just behind the Ferrari, I believe, at the time. So yeah, what a fantastic lap. First proper lap from him as well, so you wonder if is he going to go even quicker than that on his final run? We'll see.
MedTC's just gone third as well, 26.8. J707J, we might just call him J, I think, coming through in the middle sector now. He's coming through the left-hand of turn 13, getting very close to the wall on the right-hand side. That's the sort of the line that I actually take through there on time trial. And if you ever have ridden on board with me in the Gold Slap, don't, first and foremost. But if you do, I normally take that line coming through time trial. So it's not a bad first sector, 30.4. He's around 5/10 off Kazizel, but he's on his debut. We're not expecting a very quick lap time here. 57.9 is better through the middle sector. He's aiming to go, I think, around physical Petterval sort of area, and again looking quick now coming through the final sector. Kazizel just off the right hand side to him, and now Jay is coming up towards the final couple of corners at 26, and then to the left hander of course at 27, where of course Max Verstappen famously collected himself into the wall in qualifying. Jay though coming around the final corner, and he nearly hits the wall as well. He's on the run to the line. This is not a bad lap actually in terms of the whole grand scheme of things, and he goes pretty much behind Petterval, so pretty much where I said where we might go he has. Jay though goes 10th with, and in the Alpine of course he is ahead of Kachow of course, who was also debuting here tonight. Henry in 14th position and Ballard, he's on that set of soft compound tyre, so we expect him to get another lap in. Will he though, because he's low on fuel? I think it should be plenty of time. He's got a good minute and a half at least to get back out the pit lane.
Yeah, he has to be in and out, but other drivers are going to be doing exactly the same thing, because obviously the later you go out, the more grip you will have as he just dives bombing down the pits. Pretty sure the stewards could look at that, I'm not too sure. But yeah, he needs to get that lap in crucially, but the thing is though, there's going to be other cars out there around him, so
yep,
he needs to have the space and time, which I don't think is on his side at the minute.
I think he will, to be honest. I think he's fine. About a minute left until he gets out. I think he'll be fine. Physical leaving the pit lane just ahead of Jensen, who we are now on board with. 26.7, his personal best so far. He's 2 tons off Kazizel. Can he match Kazizel through the first sector? Flies to the right hander of turn 5, and then through the left hander of 6, and then through 7 and 8. Not looking too bad at all this first sector. He runs wide slightly, gets the car really rotated in nicely. This is quick from Jensen through the first sector. 30 flat. He's barely off Kazizel's first sector, so Jensen is right down the limit, and he's actually backed off. Jensen backs off, feeling that he can go probably a lot quicker. He probably thinks he can do a lot better than a 30 flat through the first sector. 26.7. Baraka there down in 13th position, by the way, at the minute. I'm now on board with him coming through the right-hander of 5, and we'll see what this first sector is going to be like. Baraka needs something special, needs to find a second on Jensen alone, just to get a lap time in, as he now flies to the left-hander, and through the first sector, 30.1 through the first sector. Baraka flies through the first sector. It's not the quickest we've seen, but He is looking to try and respond as well. We've got Kachow, I think, in the lap as well, as Baraka gets very sideways out of 13. Goodness me, how he kept that out of the wall, I do not know. Physical was retired out on track, and that is coming through turn 24 and 25, I think, as Baraka was backed out as well.
Yeah, he backed. I think he had a bit of a tank stop getting on the power too early, so he was going to lose 2 tenths at the end of that straight. But here comes Jensen to start his flying lap again. He's going to give a Red Bull with the toe. No, Red Bull's coming in the pits. So he's got clean air for the whole lap as Jensen. This is his final run. Has he got the tyres to do it? Has he got the fuel to do it as well to get round? We shall see. He was fastest of all in the first sector previously, before he backed out. As pet of all the tyres.
Yeah, Pat of all the tyres in the pit lane there, but Jensen now coming through, turn 4 and 5, J707 has also retired, I think, into the pit lane, but now Jensen, this has got to be his lap. He's got to absolutely nail it. I can already tell that he's struggling. Coming through the first sector, Jensen right on the limit, coming through the first sector split now, 29.9, and that is how you respond to Kazizl's first sector, by going even quicker than him. This is now, has to be an electric lap time from Jensen to even respond in the middle sector. Kazizl out on top by 2/10, but what can Jensen do? Will continue to run up over this lap, coming to the right hander of 16 and 17, getting very close to the curb and to the wall on the right hand side, and now he flies towards the S section and flies towards turn 23, which of course is the left hander at the end of the middle sector. Jensen is a 10th up, but he is not improving ahead of Kazizl at this moment in time. This final sector will decide it. Jensen now coming through 24, then through the left hander of 25, then through the left kink of 26, and then on the run towards the final corner at turn 27. This has looked electric from Jensen, but he needs to respond to Kazizl's final sector. Now the Alfa Romeo comes out of the final corner. He's got to really push this to the line. Can Jensen defeat Kazizl? It's going to be a Shazoo 1-2 nonetheless. Jensen to the line. He does! By 0.05 of a second. He found that time in the final sector. That was the final sector to behold, and Jensen is out on top. Kazizl not improving there in second. Lou just goes third as well. Stephen is invalidated. Harmon is also invalid. Mentos is on a lap. He's coming through the middle sector. I don't think it's a respective time though. Baraka, however, coming through the final corner. Is he going to try and improve on this lap? We'll see what Baraka can do. He's on the run to the line now. I don't think this is going to challenge the leaders to the line. He goes 4th in the end. Good lap time from Baraka. I think that might be it. I think Henry is coming towards the line as well. And Henry, he goes 4th ahead of Baraka. Very good lap time as well from Henry. I think Mentos is actually back there. He comes to the line. He goes 12th in the end. That is the end of qualifying. Jensen out on top. Kazizl second. Lou in third. And when the time come, Jensen responded, and he responded in some style. And he's 0.05 of a second ahead of his Shazoo teammate Kazizl.
Is there any more surprises to come in this race? I don't think Kazizl's time was going to be beaten. I really didn't think so. I don't think you thought it was going to happen either. No. But what a fantastic lap from Jensen. Surely he must be thinking he's got this, as he probably sees Baraka down MP5, which from now, Baraka, I hope you're not watching, but you need a miracle. You need a Verstappen miracle, to be honest, to get this championship back in your hands.
He does, but this is Jeddah, this is Formula 1, anything can happen. Jensen out on top from Kazizl in second, Lou in third, Henry in fourth, good qualifying lap from him, Baraka there in fifth, MedTC of course in sixth, Christmas there in seventh, Stephen in eighth on his debut, very good performance from him, Kachow in ninth, and Harmon ran off the top 10, Physical there in 11th, Mentos 12th, Peter Vol returning to the league in a few weeks in 13th, J707 the American in 14th, and T-Hawk right down the back of the field, didn't get a representative lap time in, and the German is down in 15th position, but Jensen out on top, Kazizl second, Lou in third. This now sets us up. I thought it was going to be Jensen and Baraka on the front row of the grid. That prediction has gone completely astray, but I think it's interesting nonetheless, because Jensen and Kazizl, what do they do running down in towards turn 1? As we can see now, conditions completely different to what they were in qualifying.
Well, yeah, it all depends on the conditions. Obviously, the trucks will be even more grippier. But yeah, I don't know how Jensen would take this. Do you think? I think he might just try and just focus on just getting to the finish. I don't think he really cares about where, if he takes first or second. As long as he's got Baraka in his sights, in his area, he should be fine with that. But yeah, Baraka will probably need some distractions, or just Jensen to have an incident really to get this championship back into even Stevens. But yeah, so far right now, Jensen has got his hand on the title.
It's been a real topsy-turvy season, I think, for them both. One driver out of form, the other coming into form, and then vice versa pretty much throughout the season. And this coming into tonight is key, because Jensen won, of course, last time out. Baraka was nowhere near the top 3 in the end, and obviously Jensen performed brilliantly last time out, and hopefully he might perform brilliantly again as we now start on the formation lap here in Jeddah. I think, though, intention is clear from Kazizel. I think he'll want to try and get Jensen on the run down and towards turn 1. If he gets a better start than the Alfa Romeo will struggle, because remember, he is on the outside line where all the marbles are going to be on the racing line. On the inside line, you're going to have the dust with Kazizel that's going to be picking up. I think Kazizel will get the stronger start because those marbles are not out on the inside line. They're actually out on the outside line around this track. So I think Kazizel will get the better start. He'll really try and push Jensen all the way to the limit. It's going to be a fascinating race nonetheless. Jensen out on top, Kazizel second, Lewin third. Of course, top 10 qualifying on that set of soft compound tyre. Everyone else, bar Mentos and Teal'c, the 2 Ferraris, on that set of soft compound tyre. Everyone else, of course, Physical, Petterville and J707 on that set of mediums. Interesting though, I normally say that drivers will probably pit in from around lap 5, lap 6 in terms of a set of soft compound tyre, because I think of it as a bit like Singapore. Once they get going 2 or 3 laps, they pretty much go off the cliff.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think the tyres can get up to lap 9, 10 on their strategy call. But yeah, I think because bear in mind, Jeddah is such a long lap to get around, and obviously very, very fast as we've seen. So to have that undercut will be so powerful, no matter if you're on the mediums or the softs. You're going to have that massive cut, probably by 2 seconds between the fresh and the soft compound, the fresh and the old compound. So yeah, who blinks first in the pit stops? And now we're coming up to the line. Who's your top 3 predictions?
Top 3, I can't look past Jensen for the win. I think Jensen, he won here in WR, and that was before Christmas, and he won in really dramatic circumstances. I think it was a 5-wide train going in towards the final lap of the race, headed towards turn 1, and Jensen won that day. So I think Jensen will win. I think Kazizel is second, and I'm not going to look over Baraka. I think Baraka's going to finish third, but it's going to be a struggle. What about you, Michael?
Kazizel for the win. I do think he could have got an extra lap in there, but Jensen second, and it's between Christmas and Baraka, but I'm going to have to go with Christmas.
Everyone now joining up on the back of the grid. Teal'c and J707 joining right at the back. Hopefully we're going to get everyone ready and up on the right hand side. And now the duel in the dunes are about to begin here in Saudi Arabia. 25 laps awaiting, and it is lights out and away we go, and Jensen gets a very good start, and Kazizel is actually the one that loses out on the start, and he is going to be behind Jensen in towards turn 1. Lou and Henry go side by side as well. Everyone I think has cleaned through turn 1 and 2 safely. Mentos getting past Petterville further down the field, but Jensen leads the way. Henry is looking to the inside line of Lou. Lou though sweeps around the outside. He's through and he's into third. Now Henry has got to try and really push the Red Bull. Teal'c is round in the first sector. I think he got contacted possibly with Petterville. Certainly it would look like it was side by side further down the field, but Jensen already away 7/10 of a second. Kazizel there in second, Lou in third, Henry in fourth, Baraka in fifth. The top 5 have stayed the same at the minute. MedTC in sixth, apart from Teal'c spinning, and Mentos going side by side as well with J707 further down the field. Teal'c I think has kept it out the wall luckily, but it is side by side the American and Mentos. Mentos is not going to think about a move here. Around the outside of turn 16, he has to force off track. He can't go side by side through there. Physical hits the wall just in front as well. Really good though first sector and middle sector, and really good first lap from everyone so far. Mentos now gets past Physical, who might have a little bit of damage on that right side end plate. Physical now struggling on that set of mediums, you can tell. He has got that wing damage on the right hand side, albeit light. Stephen on the back of MedTC as well. The Finn is under pressure from the German. Can the German get the move done down the inside and towards the final corner? No, but at the end of the first lap it's Jensen that leads the way. Kazizel in second, but Kazizel is pretty much being pushed by Lewin behind.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a mouthful. But yeah, that was a fantastic lap of, between everyone apart from Teal'c, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm quite surprised Mentos got the position there. I thought he would have had to give it back, because he did take the position off the racing line, so he might get reported after the race, but we have to wait and see. But yeah, because Kazizel is getting under pressure by Lou. He's controlling it very well, but he's slowly trying to close up to Jensen if he could. You have to watch out for corner cuttings in the first sector because it's very quick but very tight as well. But apart from that sector, it's always just a flat out from here, as we can already see every corner.
Both Mercedes have contacted, and now Mentos is in the wall as well. Mentos gets caught up in that, and it was Kachow and Harmon that went side by side. Kachow went down the inside on of Harmon, didn't work, they got on each other, and Mentos, wrong place, wrong time, is out of the race, and it's a VSC. So unfortunate, that incident. Kachow, I don't know what you were doing there, but that could have easily been avoided, and everyone would have still been in the race.
Yeah, what happened? Did he go down the inside, or was it a late move?
Down in towards the left-hander of 13 at the end of the first sector. Basically, Kachow thought there was a gap there. Harmon, of course, where the natural racing line is, it sweeps, of course, onto the curb. And obviously, he took that gap down the inside line. There's contact, they got caught in each other. And that is why Kachow's now behind Harmon, and that is why Mentos is at the race as well. Such a silly incident that could have easily been avoided.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mentos. I think he had a brilliant start, actually, as we see. Only one person coming in, which is Christmas. I think there's going to be an alternate strategy between the team. I think he played the second...
front wing change.
Oh, that's why. So I don't think it's a team decision at all. I think it was just literally a front wing change. As T-Hawk's come in, he's got a front wing change as well. So a lot of front wing changes move out of the minute. As we go back to green racing, I thought it was a full safety car right there. But as we see, DRS is enabled on lap 3, so there's going to be a lot of, probably a single file, or there's going to be a very lot of overtaking in the next 5 laps or so. And Baraka is still hanging on there. He's in this train.
He is in that train. MedCC and Stephen are also following in that train as he gets caught very wide, and actually it was Henry that made the mistake, and now Baraka is going to try and sweep around the outside through the S section in towards the inside of turn 23. You do not want to go side by side here, and Baraka, I think, listened to me there, and he backs out the throttle. Henry now pulls away in 4th, and he has now got to try and not come under pressure from MedCC and behind as well. Jensen though leading the way, Kazizel in 2nd. That is one of the most stunning camera angles I think you'd ever see on an F1 track. Kazizel now on the back of Jensen, running down in towards the final corner. Of course, there are 3 DRS supposedly around this track. On the game, there's only 2. This is one of them, and now Kazizel tries to reel in the Alfa Romeo in front, but it looks like the Alfa Romeo, no deployment being used for Kazizel. Jensen just seems to pull away down the straight. It's almost as if he's got a straight line speed setup rather than a downforce setup on, where of course you need a downforce setup around here. Jensen are leading the way, Kazizel in 2nd and Lou in 3rd, and Kazizel at the minute cannot close in on Jensen, but I think he's probably just waiting until later in the race, because normally it does get quite hectic towards the end as Kachow has retired into the pit lane.
Yeah, I think Kazizel's waiting because it's quite easy to overtake here. Slipstream is so powerful around here. You probably don't even need overtake to overtake because it's quite easy. So I think he's just hanging back, saving his tyres to probably push for an overcut on Jensen. Is probably what he's doing because he's not really pressured from behind from Lou. So I think that could be his plan. But we have to wait and see when it comes to the pit stops, which could be in 2 or 3 laps time.
Yeah, look at the sort of soft compounded tyres as well, from Stephen all the way down to J707. Look at the gap now. That was 2.5 seconds last lap around. Now 3.5 seconds, and the gap is still extending out. It's because they're pretty much embroiled in a DRS train. Stephen's on the back of MedCC, and J707 has got no one to try and follow in terms of the slipstream. Of course, the DRS is now enabled, of course, i.e. lap 3. Jensen will lead in the way, Kazizel in 2nd, Lou in 3rd, and now Kazizel will try and close in once again on the run down in towards turn number 1, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. Somebody that might be there was Harmon on the back of Pettervall. As soon as I say that, though, he's gone for a spin through the final corner. So Harmon, I think he's kept it out the wall, if I'm not mistaken. He has. He just caught on, I think, on the outside curb, which spun him round, and Harmon there in 10th position. Christmas, Physico, and T-Hawk still continuing on. Kachow, of course, retired in the pit lane. Jensen leading the way as Kazizel has a major moment coming through turn number 5. God almighty, how he recovered that, I do not know. Kazizel is somehow a very lucky boy, and he somehow kept that car going forward rather than spinning into the wall. That was an unbelievable recovery.
Yeah, I just seen that. That was insane. How has he managed to keep that position and still in the DRS of Jensen? Still, he's just hanging on there. But Lou was just compromised to Henry there as well after that mistake. But luckily, he managed to hold his position as the top 6, top 7 are still pulling away from J7. But Mads TC is right behind Baraka at the minute. So, has Baraka got a problem?
No, I think Baraka's just purely losing in the dirty air on Henry, and Henry's obviously going to attack Lou down the straight here, down and towards the final corner at 27. MedCC, though, I think, is probably going to attack Baraka before that, and he now looks to the outside line. He's not going to think about going around the outside of turn 27. This be a pretty brave move as Henry's in the wall. Henry in the wall, spins through the final corner. And he leaves the session, I think, out of his own frustration. Safety car, I don't think is going to be deployed. They can't get that clear. There are cars coming through that section of the track. But Henry now down there in P9. Pettivall, by the way, making the first overtake of the night. And he goes down the inside of turn 1, gets the move done on J707. So the check is through on the American, and he's into 7th position. Jensen are leading the way. Kazizel second, Lou in third. Henry, I think, honestly, it was unfortunate what happened for him. They got too greedy, I think, on the curb, spun the car around. He leaves the session out of his own volition, which I don't think you should do because you never know. Safety cars could come into play later on.
Yeah, but that was his own choice, and it could be a price to pay later on in this race if there is a safety car. But yeah, unfortunate for him. But now there's a 6-car train now from Jensen to Stephen. Still all in a second of each other. They're all still keeping it clean.
Ooh! I think Baraka hit the wall there. I think Baraka hit the wall coming out of turn 14. I think it was turn 14. No, it's actually further on the track. See, I'm even getting confused with how many corners is on this track. Baraka, I think he hit the wall on the right-hand side. I'm looking at MTC. On the back of him, he must have some sort of front wing damage. It's pretty much like Physico, who had to come into the pit lane. Now MTC is going to attack Baraka, and Baraka pulls the outside line. Must have damage. He's probably going to be coming in the pit lane here. MTC down the inside line, gets 4th position, and you wouldn't be surprised if you see Baraka come to the left-hand side, go into the pit lane. He does. Yeah. He's into the pits. Must have damage on that right side end plate.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just frustration, really, but it's just going from bad to worse from Baraka. Hopefully that safety car will bring him back into play. That's all he needs right now to get back to this pack. But now Baraka's in the pits. It hasn't affected Mads TC. He's already at the back of Lou, so I think he's bringing out his well, I think the track's bringing out his element here. He's doing a fantastic job up in P4.
He is indeed, and the fin, of course, is on the back of the Dutchman of Lou. Lou's just managing his EOS quite nicely, 60% compared to MedTC, 65%. In behind, though, if you're Stephen Osh and you're looking at the front 4, you're thinking to yourself, why am I not using more EOS? He's got 88% EOS, now 90% of EOS. Kazizel and Jensen are nowhere near that either. Stephen has got a major advantage in terms of the EOS over the rest of the field. Why not use some of that up? I think he's EOS harvesting more than anything. Jensen are leading the way. Kazizel there in second, Lou in third. League Racer get online, by the way. In terms of that Mercedes incident, I think called it completely right. Nico Rosberg against Hamilton moment there. Pretty much i.e. Spain 2016, where of course they came together. Luckily no gravel that time. But Kazizel on the back of Jensen. I think this might be his first look, possibly down in towards turn 1. As Jensen looks to the left-hand side. I think Kazizel not using many deployments. As Lou is in.
Yeah, sorry to cut in there, losing. So he's blinked first out of this pack. I think he's going to get the jump of these guys if they're going to carry on swabbling. But yeah, with the ERS saving, I don't think it's going to matter because you're just going to probably get overtaken anyway. Like I said, the DRS, the slipstream is so powerful around here. So it's either you save it all up or you just use it all, basically. As now there's a gap. Nope, I thought there was a gap between second and third. Nope, Mads is just keeping up with his Izils. Probably get the jump on them on the pit stops if he comes in next, but surely these 4 have to come into the pits just to cover Lou.
I think Lou's made the wrong call, and I'll say that now because DRS. DRS down in that into the final corner is going to be so crucial. Of course, there's only 3 DRS zones. Of course, one of them is on the wrong side of the track. It should be through with this section, coming through the S section down in towards turn 23, where it's not. And it's only after this point where the DRS is enabled. Watch Kazizel here, though. Look at the gap. Lou has obviously gained 6 cents per second on Pettervol alone, and 6 cents on the rest of the field. But this DRS train is just going to bring the rest of the field back into play here. It could be around the same level of gap, and I wouldn't be surprised if Lou actually is behind these guys when all the pit stops actually happen. Jensen leading the way, Kazizel in second, MedTC in third, and now we will see these pit stops as now the front 4 are in. Stephen, however, stays out. He looks to try and come into the pit lane there. However, he sets the fastest lap of the race of the whole lot. So Stephen sets the fastest lap of the race out of everyone. Not sure what his fastest lap time is, as Harman picked up a penalty. But where is Jensen, MedTC, and Kazizel going to come out in all of this? It's going to be so fascinating. Jensen's coming out the pit lane now. Lou is pretty much on the other side of the track. Jensen's at least going to be ahead. Kazizel is going to be ahead. I think Lou might just falter into third here. MedTC is behind him, and Lou neatly gets side by side with Kazizel coming out the pit lane. But Lou has not lost a position at all, and that's what I meant. DRS train around this track is so potent, it doesn't really give you an advantage in terms of overcut, undercut.
Well, you just been proven right there. I thought Lou was going to have that with just the tyre advantage on corner exit, because obviously with the tyre wear dropping off of the softs. But yeah, the DRS is just bringing everyone into play. I didn't think it was going to affect Jensen that much, because obviously he's got no one ahead of him to pull him along. But yeah, it proves that he's just hold position up to third. So where's Stephen going to be into this then train? Because obviously he was at the back of this train in 6th place, but now he's got clean out and obviously DRS and fastest lap with it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite interesting where he comes out. I think he still might come out in 6th though.
I think I think with Pettervol obviously still staying out there, he'll come out in 6th. He continues on another lap though, so he thinks maybe the overcut is more potent than the undercut, and he might have heard me on the stream possibly say that in terms of the DRS is so potent, it doesn't really give you an advantage. So Stephen is going to try and do the opposite of what I've said, and try now and do that overcut strategy. Here comes Kazizel though, on the back of Jensen. Looked like he was going to get the move done. He had the deployment out, down in towards turn 1, switches off his ERS before turn 1, and he stays in behind on Jensen for now. This is just going to be, I think, literally a 4-car train, possibly a 5-car train as well when Stephen comes in. But look at how fresh Stephen's tyres are compared to Pettervol. Pettervol is struggling, and he's lost 7 tenths per second on Stephen. Pettervol's going to come back into Jensen's perspective as well. Stephen potentially, if Pettervol stays out there for a longer period of time than what Stephen is doing, I think Stephen might end up leading this race.
Maybe that's what he's hoping, because he must know he's got the pace. Maybe that's what I think. That's why he was saving that so much overtake, so he can get those extra few laps out of those tyres. But oh god, I knew I was going to say that. but can Stephen actually push now? I mean, the pit window is pretty much open for the soft tyres, and the grip won't be there pretty much anymore. He still might have the extra speed, but the grip itself will pretty much not be there anymore. So, but we'll see. I think he's coming in this lap by this. Yeah. He's going to come in this lap. So where's he going to be? I still think he might be in P6, but he will at least have the fresh tyres out of the lot. I think he will be P6. I think he's going to be around a second and a half possibly off this train, but it all depends on whether these guys attack each other down and towards turn number 1. Stephen is halfway down the pit lane. There is Jensen coming out the pits as well. Do you know what? I think Stephen could be ahead of MedTC here. He's coming out the pit lane now. The pit lane obviously is quicker than the mediums, and look, he's going to be behind, and pretty much exactly what I said has just happened. He's around a second behind MedTC. So, I think, again, another prediction, I think that has gone right in my area. I thought, though, with the pit lane, he could have gone side by side with MedTC. Didn't, but Stephen now out in P5, and Osh Stephen, as we're going to call him, the German version of old Stephen, of course, here in FRL F1. He's there in 6th position. He's doing a good job. He's on fresher tyres than everyone else as well. And they're all going to start to fall over each other, especially when Pettervol goes back to them. As MedTC has actually spun through turn number 13. No! Unfortunate for him. Was he going down the inside? Did he just lost
I think
downforce?
Potentially, I think he's caught the wall on the inside coming through turn 13. I didn't see that actually happen, but MedTC, whatever happened, Stephen was nowhere near him. He wasn't going for the move, so it was an induced error by himself. MedTC has done, and it's a typical MedTC error, to be honest. But I think he got too greedy on the curb. Maybe he's caught the left rear on the curb, because the way he rotated round, it was sideways on, pretty much in towards the rest of the cars coming through. So I think that happened, and now he's out of the train, basically. It's now a 4-car train. Christmas is now ahead of him, and it's a disaster for MedTC, and even Baraka, I should say, is ahead of him as well.
Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, you don't really want to get on those red and white curbs anyway, because they're very slippery, whatever track you've gone to, so that's very unfortunate for him. I hope he can recover in some way or form as the leaders get past the lap car of Henry, which is not good to see, especially it can easily distract you, putting off an apex in the corner, and you could easily hit the wall around here. Luckily the leaders got through him. But now, what would you do in Petterville's position now? Obviously he's doing a fantastic job of keeping his pace up and hopefully not being under pressured. But how would Jensen cope with this now? Obviously he needs to get this move done straight away, but he needs to be careful by Kazizel and the rest of that behind.
If I was in Pettervoll's shoes, I'd be holding these guys up, because he's got nothing to lose. He's in the lead of the race. He should be fighting for position, which he will. And I think Pettervoll just stay in front of Jensen, be a complete nuisance to both him and Kazizel. And look at Lou now. Lou has dropped off on this pack, and now Stephen goes all the way around the outside of him. So Lou must have made a mistake in the middle sector, which we didn't see, and Stephen has flew past him down in towards the final corner at 27, gets the job done. He's through, and he's into 4th, and now Stephen can try and rely on that pace, and Pettervoll is going to be that nuisance to Jensen, but Jensen has to try and get the move done. He sets the fastest lap of the race and launches it down the inside in towards turn 1. Thought it probably was going to be a little bit harder than that, but he's actually done it quite easily in the end. Jensen through, and he's now into the lead of this race. Pettervoll there in second, still to come in, of course, on that set of soft Compana tyres, but the set of softs around here, normally they're a second and a half quicker than the set of mediums, and Pettervoll, obviously he'll be further down the field, but he will be the quickest man out on track coming towards the end of the race. Christmas, I think, will probably go on that same strategy as well, but Jensen leading the way, Kazizel on the back of Pettervoll, and do you know what this means? Jensen's probably going to get away by more than a second coming through the middle sector.
Yeah, because now we're in the twisty fast part of the corners now, as Jensen with those fresher tyres and versus Pettervoll's older tyres, he's just going to be cruising away, as we see now, as Kazizel is getting some losing some front grip, and already look from Pettervoll's onboard, he's gone.
Jensen has gone. He's 1.4 seconds clear of Pettervoll, but now Kazizel has got to wait, but he's got to know that Stephen is right on the back of him, and Stephen is now beginning to pressure Kazizel. I didn't think this will happen this lap around. Kazizel is going to go for the move on Pettervoll down the inside line. There's just about a Williams-shaped gap down the inside line, and now Stephen follows through as well. Pettervoll will try to split track through the final corner with the grip, though. Stephen is through, and he's into P3. Kazizel, though, I literally said Pettervoll could be a nuisance to one of these two, and he was to Kazizel, and now Pettervoll's going to dive it down the inside line. He's got nothing to lose. He's fighting for position back down the inside line of the German, and he gets the move done. So Pettervoll is being a complete nuisance to Stephen and Lou at this stage, and now Lou is on the back of Stephen, and now Jensen and Kazizel are going to get away again by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think Stephen, that was his only chance. He needed to cover that inside line to get that position, because obviously he should have known he hasn't stopped yet. He's on very old tyres, so now he's just cost in time possibly a podium, as Hamilton crashed out in the pit lane. He must have had, I know, damage to his front wing, and he called it that. So as Lou gets a bit of loose front end grip, he hit the wall. Unfortunately, there's more yellow flags, and it's the Ferrari. I think that's T-Hawk.
T-Hawk coming through turn 2, I think that's around. I don't think he's actually gone into the wall. He hasn't, he's kept it out the wall, so the Ferrari there in P11 still doing a good job. Stephen, though, on the back of Pettervoll. Pettervoll, I think now, probably has just got to get out the way for these two, because these two are probably thinking, my god, my teammate is literally 2 cars ahead in Lou's case, and Stephen has now got to go all the way around the outside of Petavall through the kink of 26. He comes across on him, nearly making a little bit of contact. He dives it back down the inside line. Petavall really does not have anything to lose, and that is just insane down the inside line. And now Lou is surely going to get past on Stephen. He lets him through. The Red Bull has done an absolute mastery job there, Petavall. He's now let Lou through and he's into 4th. Lou's not going to dive it on Stephen. Stephen, though, 3rd. Lou in 4th. Petavall, I've got to take my hat off to you as Lou gets very sideways coming out of turn 1. Baraka is through on Christmas as well. Not enough, though, to take the championship at this stage, of course. He has to think that Jensen is going to crash out this race at this point. But Petavall, I've got to take my hat off to him. He didn't want to give up for position. He shouldn't have. He was fighting for race position, and that's exactly what you like to see. 90% of the time, drivers would get out of the way. He didn't. He fought cleanly, fairly, and he's in 5th position, and now he's on himself possibly a top 8 finish.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't do that with Jensen. He pretty much let Jensen straight through, and unless he's got something against Stephen, because that was an incredible drive, pretty much Sergio Perez style in Abu Dhabi in real life. So, great defensive drive from him, respectively, and probably just helping his teammate in general. But that could cost him some positions. But yeah, like you said, he's clearly going to be on for a top 8, I believe, hopefully. But if there's a safety car coming out right now, it'll be a treat for him.
Kazizel on the back of Jensen. I thought he was going to lunge it into the final corner there. Lou as well, and Stephen not going to lunge it into the final corner either. But Kazizel now needs to apply a bit of pressure to Jensen. He shouldn't really start to wait in behind. If these guys want to try and fight, they want to fight fairly. And Kazizel on the back of Jensen, he's going to sit him way behind for this lap along. But there comes a point where something will trigger in Kazizel's mind. He's got to go for the move. Racer's instinct will come into play. He will go for the move of the lead of the race. They may as well work together, though, at this point, because Stephen there, in 3rd, 1.9 seconds, through the first sector, he's a lot quicker because there's no DRS trains happening and no DRS zones through the first sector, and that is why Stephen gains the time back by around 2 or 3 tenths. Kazizel, though, and Jensen, because they're in a little DRS train together, they're pulling away at the faster part of the circuits, and this is what I was talking about in terms of the pit stops. DRS is so potent around here, you can pull out the gap, you can lose the gap as well, and it's a little bit of a changeable condition. This is why I love commentating around this track. Jensen leading the way, Kazizel in 2nd, Stephen in 3rd, Lou in 4th. Petavall, by the way, is keeping up with Lou, 1 second off the back. He's ahead of Baraka, and he's keeping up in terms of his pace on Baraka as well. Petavall's doing a phenomenal job on his return.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job as well, but now he's out of the DRS now, so he's going to be dropping back ever so slightly. Would he get DRS here? I do not think he is. No, he's not. Nope. So he's going to be losing a couple tenths now, but he's going to be in his pit window anytime soon. As Lou is going to go down the inside, no, he's going to wait until the pit straight, because the overtake is so easy. You could have easily got it back on the pit straight. So I think that's what Kazizel was doing, really. I think he's just holding back until it really matters coming towards the end of this race, because overtaking is so easy. He can actually get the position back.
Lou!
See Lou down the inside.
Yep, job done. I think we both called that at the same time, though. He's into 3rd, but they're now beginning to fight. They should work together at this point. Put the quicker driver ahead. The quicker driver is Stephen in terms of on paper. He's got 5 lap all mediums. Lou's got 8 lap all mediums. Whether or not the driving styles is different remains to be seen. But I think Stephen has got more pace than Lou. And that is why I think Stephen should be ahead of Lou, dragging him along and trying to get that gap. But because he's not in that DRS train, it's pretty much impossible. Christmas, by the way, through on Baraka down in towards turn 1 as well. He's on 13 lap all mediums, probably going to the end of the race as well. And he is there in 5th position, got through on the soon-to-be runner-up in the championship, Baraka, as, at the minute, Jensen in a fight with Kazizel. Kazizel is keeping him on his toes tonight, but Jensen is what, 9 laps, 8.5 laps away from being crowned FRL F1 champion again?
Yeah, definitely, especially where Baraka is. It just needs to bring it home. But I think Kazizel is literally waiting for probably on the last lap, really, because if he can overtake Jensen, Jensen can easily take that back from him like nicking candy from a baby, really. So I think Kazizel is just happy to be behind Jensen, especially if there's no trouble from behind.
There comes in a time and a place, though, where Kazizel, the racer instincts will come in. I think these two now just need to literally let loose out on track. Let everyone see what they're capable of. Because Jensen and Cazzizzle, I know they're in the same team, but here in FRL, there's literally no limits in terms of what these F1 drivers can do. I think give us the viewers, give us the commentators a good fight as well. Fight out on track fairly. I know these two can do it. They're capable. And do you know what? With 7 laps to go, there's plenty of time, if it doesn't work, for you to go and revert back to a 1-2 strategy. Jensen leading the way, Cazzizzle in second. They're pulling away 3 seconds now to Lou. Lou there in third, Stephen there in fourth. And Jensen at the minute just seems to be, well, coasting out in front. Cazzizzle seems to be coasting in second. But as I say, racer instinct will come into play, and Cazzizzle will eventually want this race win.
Yeah, and I think Lou and Stephen are, I think they are pretty much battling. They're too close to each other compared to Cazzizzle and Jensen. I think they are more smoother, and then you look at third place, it seems more aggressive between these two, it's more personal. So I think between these two for third place, I imagine. But Christmas, I don't think he's going to get back, but Baraka is right on the back of him. But I think he was a bit too close to the back of him as he lost a bit as he was in the dirty air. He's got overtake on. I think he wants his position as Christmas is derating. Coming up to derating, and here comes Baraka down the inside. Very late on the brakes. Managed to get the corner, keep the corner in, but now he's vulnerable of the DRS from Christmas. And is this just going to be proving my point, nicking candy from a baby?
No.
He is good. No, I don't think he is.
He looked to the inside line, he went so wide through the final corner, I think it was reserved to letting Baraka go in front of him, but they are gaining time on Stephen, and the reason that they are gaining time on Stephen is Lou's just picked up a 3-second penalty coming through turn 7, Stephen is very low on fuel, and that is why Baraka is gaining so much. He's running lean mix at parts of the track where you initially wouldn't want to run lean mix. Stephen is in trouble here. He's in fourth. He might be getting helped out by Lou in front of him. These two are losing time, hand over fist. Baraka is going to eventually gain on Stephen. And do you know what? If Stephen is not careful with his fuel, he'll run out and Baraka and Christmas could get him.
Yeah, but for Baraka's perspective, it's not enough. He needs them to be up there to fight Jensen and just give him a fight, give him a trouble. But it's clear not happening for him right now with literally just over 6 laps to go. I just hope there could be more drama coming towards the end. Nothing against the drivers, I think it's just for a viewer's side of thing. Probably our viewpoint as well. We would love to see a safety car right now to spice things up. Pretty much like my pot noodle that I'm having right now.
I tell you what though, Cazzizzle is closing in on Jensen down in towards turn number 1. Is this the move now? Cazzizzle is going to get done. No, he jukes us into it once again. He stays in behind. Come on, man, spice up the action. Cazzizzle in second, just behind Jensen. Jensen still leading the way. Christmas though overtaking Baraka down in towards turn 1. So Christmas now through he's into 5th, and they're now trading blows for 5th and 6th position. It almost looks like we've got 3 battles going on. Jensen and Cazzizzle for the race win. Lou and Stephen for 3rd. At the minute, Stephen's going to be 3rd. If he doesn't run out of fuel, and if he doesn't pick up a 3-second penalty, because Lou's obviously got one, Christmas and Baraka seems to be the other battle. Metisi's not too far off, but he seems to be losing time more than anything to the guys in front of him. So it looks like there's 3 battles really going on: 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 6th.
Yeah, Stephen's dropped off Lou. Maybe it's because he knows he's got 3 seconds, or maybe he's just trying to save fuel at the process. But yeah, it looks like that way in a battle situation, as T-Hawk is in a lonely position of pretty much the wooden spoon in 11th place. And who else? It looks like Stephen's slowly coming back. Yeah, yes, and he's saved up pretty much a full bar of energy as well. But look at it, he's just lifting, coasting as well. Yeah, I think that's just literally for fuel. I think it's literally just for his fuel, not just by teasing Lou at all. I think it's going to be a lot of overtaking. Oh, hang on,
man! Go for the move! Go for the move! I'm crying out loud!
He's waiting for the last lap because he knows Jensen will get him back, because it's just so easy to overtake. Jensen will get the position back if Cazzizzle gets him.
It's almost as if it's esports all over again. Just drivers staying in behind one another. I've got to be honest, it's a bit tedious for the viewers, but it makes for really good action towards the back end of the race. Jensen leading the way, Kazizel in second. There's 5 laps to go. If there's a safety car here, there's still going to be possibly 2 laps worth of racing right at the end of the race. By the way, T-Hawk predicted 5 safety cars. We haven't had a single one, bar a VSC, and that was on lap 1. So these guys have done phenomenally well to get around. Of course, with wing changes galore, Jensen leading the way, Kazizel there in second, Liu in third. Kachow, by the way, saying he's straight up understeered into Harman. Of course, both Mercedes coming into contact, and that, I think, was curtains on Harman's race as well. Jensen, though, leading the way. Kazizel in second. Crying out loud, I really want Kazizel now to go for the move. I want to see these two battle. I know they're capable. I want to see it happen. I don't think it will, though, because Kazizel is waiting in behind on Jensen. I'm not sure if somebody from Shazoo is in here and telling them just to run 1-2 just for the sake of it. But Jensen leading the way. Kazizel in second. Kazizel is going to get close enough down in towards someone. He's got clear speed difference compared to Jensen. Backs off the ERS though, and he stays in behind for another lap.
It's just going to be like watching a videotape, and you just have to rewind it. It's just you're just repeating the same thing over and over. And yeah, to you, it is watching like an esports race. To be honest, I'd rather watch like back in the V8 time, because it was so more overtaking more than this. But not complaining though, it's still a fascinating race to watch, because obviously it's tense for the championships states as it is, with Jensen pretty much having both hands on the title as it stands, and I think he knows that.
Yeah, he's 3.5 laps away here in Jeddah to wrap up a second consecutive FRL F1 championship, and he'll be hoping to do it in some style. Can he win the race though to secure that victory? Kazizel now beginning to threaten, I think. He's just sitting and waiting. He's further off this time around compared to last lap, and Kazizel is just waiting there, in behind on Jensen, thinking, when on earth are you going to make a mistake, or when on earth are you going to run out of ERS so I can come and attack you? And Kazizel, again, is going to be close down in towards 27. It's not going to be close enough. However, something that might, though, is Steven on the back of Liu. Again, he's got ERS to burn, but he's running still very low on fuel. The yellow light has now gone off the car, so he's managed enough fuel towards the end of the race. Kazizel, though, is he going to attack Jensen? Again, he backs off halfway down the straight, down and towards turn 1. Petavol, by the way, this is more interesting. Petavol on the back of MedTC, softs against mediums. Surely it's going to be the set of softs that come out on 4s. There is going to be an overtake here. No waiting behind this time. Petavol's through, and he's into 7th position. Gets the job done. Absolutely flies past MedTC to get the job done, and he's through and he's into 7th. Finally, we get an overtake with 3 laps to go.
Finally, yeah, we've got an overtake, and I didn't actually see Christmas overtake Baraka. Actually, was that on the same lap, or was it a couple of laps before?
That was a good few laps ago, I think, as Christmas has just picked up a penalty. I think that was around lap 16, 17, I'm tempted to say, maybe just before that.
Probably, but I'm going to have to ask you this now. We come up to the end of this race, probably the end of the championship fight. Do you think Baraka deserved more? Do you think he had deserved more of a chance of final, or was it just literally bad luck from his perspective? Because Jensen just came out alive for the last few races.
And the run of form for Baraka in the last 5 or 6 races is what's cost him the championship. It's as simple as that. Jensen has been electric, and now Kazizel is right on the back of him. So Jensen has still got to think something about it. He might have 2 hands on the trophy, but he's now got to have 2 hands on another trophy, because Kazizel is probably going to attack him down and towards turn number 1. Is this the time for Kazizel to get the move, or is it going to be the final lap of the race, or are they just going to sit behind for the race? Jensen leads the way, still in towards turn 1. Kazizel is second, but I just feel Kazizel is threatening him in behind. But to come back to your question, Baraka, his recent run of form has been nothing short of shocking, if I've got to be honest. He tried to move there on Christmas as well. He backed out the throttle down in towards turn 1. He's there in 6th position. But Baraka's recent form is what's cost him the championship. If he practiced a little bit more, if he put a little bit more effort in, I think he could have got more out of the championship than actually necessary. But we can't take anything away from Jensen. Jensen at the minute is going to be champion. No shadow of doubt about that. If he can stay within the white lines and stay within the walls with 2 laps to go, he is going to be crowned FRL Season 13 champion here. And he's done it, I've got to be honest, in really dominant fashion, with Kazizel obviously staying in behind. Now Jensen beginning to put the foot down, gaps him to 6/10 of a second, and Kazizel, if he's got to think about winning this race, he's got to now act.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I hope he's in FRL next season as a full-time driver, so he can actually give Jensen a good run for his money. Because I think Kazizel is the faster guy out of these two, clearly, but Kazizel doesn't want to overtake. As we see, Jay is getting his first 3-second penalty, but he is put on the softs to go for the fastest lap, I believe. As please, Kazizel, just go for the overtake. Come on, Kazizel.
This is it. This is it. This time around, Kazizel is going to go for the move down the inside line. He wants the race victory, and he will get the race victory to the line, down in toward the first corner. Kazizel takes away, but he's gone a little bit too deep, and now Jensen is going to fight. It's like Verstappen and Hamilton all over again in the streets of Jeddah. Kazizel leads the way. Jensen in second. Do not discount Jensen, though. Kazizel looks like, just with that corner alone, he pulls 4/10 out on Jensen. He's got the quicker tyres, he's waited, he's acted, and now he goes for the race win here in Jeddah with still 3/4 of a lap to go.
Yeah, I called it. I called it with 5 laps before. He was just waiting for the last lap, and I think Stephen did as well. He's already passed Lou, and he's already gained away from Lou as Lou is deranged. So that's definitely 3rd place for him, for Stephen. Good race for him.
I tell you what, though. Yeah. There's a yellow flag coming through. I think that's T-Hawk just getting out of the way. Jensen just hit the wall there slightly, but look at his ERS. ERS, 30% more than Kazizel. Kazizel is not the race winner just yet. Jensen is pushing him now in towards turn 23 with the purple middle sector out of everyone. Jensen now is going to attack Kazizel. This is not over and done with just yet between them both. Jensen now will switch to the outside line. He's got to do it the hard way. Kazizel now on the inside line. Jensen, I think, is going to get the full car ahead, and Jensen retakes the lead, but Kazizel dives it from a mile back down the inside line. It's still side by side out the final corner, and then nearly make contact, and Kazizel and Jensen on the race to the line. It's a photo finish. Jensen wins from Kazizel in second. Wow, we waited to the final lap, but the final lap delivered. Jensen wins, Kazizel in second, Stephen in third, and that is the best final lap of any season in FRL. That was insane from them both. I knew they were capable, and that's just proven it.
Well, I wasn't expecting the re-overtaking from Jensen. I mean, I knew I was expecting the last overtake on the last lap by Kazizel. I was calling it that way, but Jensen surprised me, and I think surprised us all. And as that confirms, Jensen is now the new world champion of FRL Season 13.
He does. Consecutive championships as well for Jensen. Of course, won last season in F1 Season 12, now F1 champion Season 13, and as League Racer Online has just put in the comment section, that is what you call racing, and I totally 100% agree with that sentiment. Jensen and Kazizel, they're both in the same team in terms of Shazoo. Shazoo have got 2 very talented drivers on their hands, and I think I said this before in the PSGL event, but both of them have just delivered possibly the best final lap of the season in any season in FRL since I've been a commentator here. Peter Vall, Driver of the Day award by the in-game fans, drove well on his return, but fantastic action. Jensen somehow snatches it. It'll be so interesting to see the minimal margin across the line in which he's taken the victory, but that side draft basically won him the race. If it didn't, Kazizel probably would have won. But still, fantastic battle. Jensen wins. He is your Season 13 FRL F1 champion. He deserves it. He's been the dominant driver all season. To cap off, of course, what has been a fantastic season in TTML, where he's taken the F1 championship there and also the Constructors standings. He's done the double here in FRL. Oh my god, could he do it a 3rd time next season if he signs up? We'll have to wait and see. Jensen, though, to the top step of the podium. Kazizel finishing in second, and Stephen in the end on his debut, the Dutchman in third. And look at that across the line. 0.02 of a second separating victory from defeat.
Yeah, just amazing from them two. Very aggressive, but very fair. I don't think they actually made contact, apart from the exit of that last corner, which was a bit hair-raising, but you expect that from racing. But fantastic respect from these two. And to be honest, I think the best man actually won not just the race but the championship today.
Oh, I don't know. With Kazizel's lack of overtaking, I think I've got to agree with you there. Jensen wins though, Kazizel second, Stephen in third. Shall we go into the interviews party and interview them? This will be an interesting one.
Yeah, it will be very interesting indeed, Owen. I'll see you there.
My PS4 decides to quicken up slightly. Hopefully, we can get across into the party. Seems like I might be having a few issues to try and get across, but I think we are going to get across now into the party. I just need to press join, and of course I know because this is Jensen are probably going to be talking when I join this, so might just shut up for a second. As I hate to interrupt on T-Hawk, I thought it was going to be Jensen talking, but it is actually the German T-Hawk talking. But we have to talk about the Season 13 FRL F1 champion. It is Shazoo Jensen. Jensen, you've wrapped up the championship here tonight in Jeddah. You had to do it the hard way, though, after an insane final lap with Kazizel. Talk us through it.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, that was insane. I didn't expect him to go early. I thought he would just stick behind me and try and get DRS at the end. But he decided to pull the early card in the final lap. But before that, pretty much we managed to break the DRS after we got past Petter, who was yet to stop. And we pretty much, yeah, I didn't have to use a single drop of energy because he wasn't attacking. And since it wasn't like nothing was won yet, so wasn't much point. And we managed to pull a gap, and yeah, it all set up for a final lap battle, and he took the first call. He got past. I tried keeping close with him, which I did, and got the run, but I didn't want to use much energy down the last, like the penultimate DRS straight, because I wanted the deployment for this run to the line, because I always missed out, always lost out every time at Jeddah on the run for the line, so I always ran out. And I saw Kazizel dive at the inside. I gave the room, had a little move on exit, which gave him a little bit more of a run, but then he ran out of deployment. And even with the DRS, I just managed to edge him out. It was insane. But yeah, crazy race.
Crazy race indeed. I think I liken that final lap to probably be the best final lap in FRL in any season I think that I've covered in commentary. It was absolutely insane. It just comes to show what Shazoo have got on their hands, and both of you being so talented, and that just comes to prove it I think tonight in FRL. But obviously you've wrapped up the championship. That is the most important thing I think. Of course consecutive championships as well. Must feel pretty happy with that, of course, considering your success in TTML this season as well.
Yeah, it's another championship added to the books on this game. I don't know, I'm pretty sure most of my leagues have won the championship so far, so it's all been going pretty well. I think only like PSG, WR and LOE I haven't, but yeah, it's been insane. I think this season, the good share of bad luck, or the good luck is well between me and Baraka, and it was unfortunate for him in France, of course, and Australia. He lost out a few points there, but I think, yeah, I've had my moments as well. I think, yeah, it was a really good scrap this season. Unfortunately, it doesn't go to the final race, but yeah, I'm just really happy right now to win a second championship.
Yeah, definitely so. And obviously Baraka, I think, kept you on your toes for the most part of the season. We saw obviously bits of contact between you both throughout the season as well, but the majority of it was clean, and I think that really comes to show what two talented drivers you and Baraka actually are. And I cannot wait, hopefully, if you both sign up for season 14 to see what might happen next season as well. But yeah, talk us through as well, as a comment has just come through saying Jensen has had an illegal engine. Not sure if you want to try and respond to that one.
It's not Mercedes, so you can't get me on that one. Well, it's a Ferrari, but nah, I wasn't running any illegal engine or fuel mounts like they did.
Yeah, I mean, it still comes to show, though, even without, like, aids and assists and whatever, you can still do a championship victory like that. It was fantastic, of course, to watch that final lap of the race. But in the end, Baraka's form in those final couple of races, do you think that gave you the edge in terms of the championship?
Yeah, majority of the races, I think, yeah, I've had the better races, and I think the first 18 races maybe this season, he's had pretty much been on it there. Of course, he had that 28-point gap after Russia, and I thought it would be much harder than he had his fair share of bad ones, and the really unlucky ones, like I said, France, he should have won that. That's pretty much 32 points, a difference, which is, yeah, one of those ones. Of course, I had Belgium, where I had that moment on the safety car. Like, there's many you could list, but yeah, this season has been insane. Absolutely brilliant battles near the end of the season, the last few races as well. So yeah, if he carries on for season 14, hopefully it'll be one that goes to the wire again, maybe. But yeah.
You never know with that one. You never know indeed. Of course, season 14 is certainly something to look forward to based off that race there in Saudi Arabia. Michael, I haven't forgot about you. I'm coming across to you now. Any questions?
Nothing really about the race, because you've got the championship. Congratulations to you. But back to obviously what you've been talking about of Baraka. Was Baraka the perfect rivalry of the championship, even though you both have the up and down this season?
I'd say he's a rival I want is respectful to one another. So yeah, he shows his sportsmanship after every race to me as well. We have our chats after the race, we congratulate each other. So yeah, it's friendly rivalry, I'd say, but at least it's nothing like you see like Verstappen and Hamilton or Prost Senna, one of those ones where they completely turn the enemies to each other or something.
No, but not like some people in F3, is it? It's just total respect between you guys, even though it hasn't really gone pretty much anyone's way throughout the season. But yeah, congratulations on your championship win. I think some of us argued that Baraka couldn't fight you throughout that race. I think that's everyone wanted to see. But Baraka, I hope you're watching and you've been a brilliant fight to this championship against Jason. And I think for everyone, I hope you can come back and snatch it off him next season, which would just be a phenomenal season ahead. But yeah, congratulations, and up to next week, I think it'd be just a nice chilled race, probably, from maybe everyone's expected. How are you hoping for Abu Dhabi?
If he's there.
Hey, say again. Sorry. I was just checking something. Can you repeat it, please?
Basically, I'm not going to say the whole thing. Basically, how do you think you're going to go in Abu Dhabi? Is it just going to be a nice chilled race and just end it with a high, with probably you and Baraka still battling it like it's like the final position?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm just gonna drive as best as I can. So I've heard people are quite quick around Abu Dhabi. It's not really one of my favourite. Well, it's not necessarily one of my least favourite tracks, but it's just one of my slower tracks, I'd say. But I think the pressure, so much pressure's been lifted off. I've got to be honest with that. So yeah, it would feel much easier.
Well, hopefully it will be, and hopefully it'll be just a lot of fun, whatever the result is at the end of that day. And congratulations of not just winning the race, but winning the World Championship.
Yeah, fully deserved. I can see him typing as well, I think, to Baraka's comment. And Baraka has put, just for reference, big congratulations for the championship, Jensen. Wish we had taken this to Abu Dhabi, but well, it wasn't meant to be. Great job, though, throughout the season, and you deserve it. And I think that just comes to show the level of respect and the level of sportsmanship, I think, that is shown in FRL F1. And this is why lower tiers should follow FRL F1 as an example of what you can become in FRL going forward into Season 14. The next man, of course, we're going to speak to is the opposite, of course, of Jensen's victory here in Saudi Arabia. Of course, it is Kazizel, and Kazizel finishing in second. But my God, it came down to 200ths of a second at the end of the race. Talk us through it, because we thought you were probably going to get the move done on lap 20 or 21, but you waited till the final lap. Was a calculated move to try and go for the win?
Yeah, 100%. Since about lap 4, I've just been waiting, because I hate leading, because when you're leading, you just have no control over anything. So Jensen had great pace, and I was fine being behind him. And then I just saved DRS. And then I thought about it about lap 23, and I was like, to be honest, DRS is way too strong, so I'll just wait. And then I said, do you know what, I'm just going to send it on last lap. And I did it. And then I kind of made a couple of mistakes in that lap, which put me under a lot of pressure, which made me, because I was calculating how much ERS I had to use for me to be fine. But because of the mistakes, I'd use more. So I threw up the inside in the last corner, and to be fair, like, Jensen gave me the room. And I can always trust Jensen, like, he's one of the cleanest guys I've ever raced with, so that's always a props to him. And then I was really confused coming out of the last corner, because I gained loads, and then I started losing, and then I saw red in the bottom of the screen, and I was gutted. Like, you gotta understand, like, I've been waiting 25 laps to get into the lead, and when I lost it, so, you know what I mean, it's sportsmanship, you know. He deserved the win. He was great all race. You know what I mean? Race pace, quality. Yeah, perfect day for him, pretty much.
I think that's racing at the end of the day. Of course, one driver has to be victorious, one driver has to be very kind in defeat, and of course you're the driver that is very kind in defeat. But talk us through that final lap battle, because at one point I think Jensen had around 30% more ERS than you. Is that the difference that I think told on the final lap?
Yeah. I feel like I used too much on the back straight, like the long one before, like in the second sector, and it wasn't even, I didn't run out of, like, I didn't derate, I literally just ran out of deployment. Like, I couldn't go, like, in the bottom. Obviously you have, like, I don't know the exact amount, but you only have a certain amount you can use a lap. But I had more ERS, I had like 20% more, but I literally used all my allocation that lap, so I literally had nothing going down that straight, and it was just, it's a gutting feeling, because I could see him slowly catching me up, and I thought the line would come quick enough, and it just didn't. So, you know what I mean, like, it's disappointing, but, like, I drove a great race today, so, you know what I mean, like, I can't be too upset. And obviously Jensen deserves it, he's champion for a reason, so nothing really else to, I guess, go on about.
Yeah, champion for a reason. I think totally, in terms of how this race progressed, you two, Shazoo should be proud of you both, is what I will say, because they've got two really talented drivers on their hands in terms of you both. And in terms of that, of course, a 1-2 for Shazoo tonight as well must mean pretty good for the team, who I think do not watch FRL, but I'm sure they'll be proud nonetheless. Yeah,
well, we put it in a results chat, we'll get a few fire emojis for sure, but yeah, 100%, it's always good to have a 1-2, especially, you know, me and Jensen, like, we've raced each other for years, so there's always some sort of respect between us, and like, when we do get a 1-2, you know what I mean, we're always both happy for each other. I'm happy he got his win and his championship, and I'm sure he's happy but I got my second place.
Yeah, definitely so. I think it just comes to show how far both of you have came on here in FRL, because I remember, I think I commentated on your first ever league race in FRL, and you were in F3, and you beat Housey in Bahrain short, yeah. I think it was. And it comes to show how far you've come on, and it just comes to show the level of development that you've come on to as well, which I think is fantastic, and everyone should follow both you and Jensen as a role model, I think, throughout this league going forward. Michael, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Not really, because, well, it was just a simple race after the first pit stops. Obviously, you had a bit of a gap between you and Lou, which I think was the most crucial part of your race, because it was pretty much a single file between 6 cars at that point, until Petterville was the meeting the sandwich, pretty much just helping you and Jensen put away, really. So were you just calm throughout the race? Was you just not pressured at all of overtaking Jensen?
Yeah,
was it just all on that last lap, or just going for it?
Yeah, 100%. Like going into it, like obviously I don't really have any pressure, and I was like, I know how powerful DRS is. So even if I drop to 8 temps, by the end of the next straight I'll be 2 temps. So there was no pressure. Jensen was rapid, and I don't think people realise how quick he is. The guy is just in race pace, just one of the quickest guys on PlayStation for sure. So I was completely comfortable staying behind him. And yeah, to be honest, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be close enough to get the move done. I was a bit lucky, but yeah, no pressure behind it, you know what I mean? Just stay behind and save ERS and yeah, save tyres and just see what happens with a few laps to go.
Yeah, and you gave it all in your last lap. Obviously, you lost deployment on that last straight, which is unfortunate. Could have easily been your win tonight. But yeah, nothing to take away from Jensen and obviously the sportsmanship between you guys. And hopefully, well, we'll hope to see you next week. Do you think you can bring more fun to next week in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, 100%. Every time I show up, I try to have a good time, you know, clean racing. This is why I league racing. This is why I've been league racing for 4 years or so, you know what I mean? I just love, you know, like racing people, you know what I mean? Meeting new people as well with this, like, awesome community you guys have. So yeah, I'll just, next round it'll be all about having fun, you know what I mean? Just making sure everyone has a good time.
Yeah, well, hopefully we will see you there, and hopefully you'll nick a win off Jensen. Maybe you could give a little bump on the rear, just to get some little revenge off tonight. But congratulations either way on your result, and hopefully we will see you again next week for the victory.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Very welcome indeed, and we'll now move on to the man who finished in P4. Of course, I was FRL Lou, and Lou, I get the sense like you could have got a little bit more out of that race. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I could have definitely gone more, but like I was even surprised with my qualifying, 26.6. The fastest I've been all week was 26.9. Oh, I think it's mine. Sorry. Wait a second.
Well, I think he died.
He's back.
Sometimes it's just very strange. But yeah, I was very surprised with the qualifying lap, especially because it's not my track at all. So I was hoping for maybe P5 here, actually not P4, but yeah, into the race, took a 3-second penalty and that just completely ruined it.
Yeah, talk us through the pit stop as well, because we were seeing everything unfolding, of course, out on track. Drivers went on, I think, a couple of laps more than you. And you came out still in third position, but obviously with the undercut around this track, there's no real sense of, is the DRS train going to work? Is it going to be, am I going to lose out to this? You came out in third position in that DRS train, and obviously held that position throughout. Were you surprised that you actually came out in the position and you didn't lose more time?
I was actually surprised and then it came in front of those guys. Because yeah, I pushed really hard that lap, and then still getting back in P3, yeah, that's actually not what I wanted it to be. So yeah, very unfortunate, but it is what it is, and just completely hopefully finishing first next week.
Oh, you never know. You never know what can happen next week, of course. In Abu Dhabi, it has played the host to many a championship fight back in the day, i.e. 2021. Well, the less we say about that one, the better, I think. Michael, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
You pretty much answered what I was going to ask them about the pit stop, really. Were you just hoping, probably, because obviously if you were leading, you probably get easy overtaken by Jensen and Kerzizel, so were you probably hoping maybe get in second place so you can hold on more and probably just be in the DRS of Jensen throughout the end? Or was it a entirely different plan of just getting in front of the rest?
It was actually my plan to or get P2 or get in front of all of those guys, but I preferred actually P2, getting into P2, because then I just can do what Kerzizel did. But yeah, it was not meant for me, I guess.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not sure if it did, but did your teammate help you at all, or did it just backfire of what the plan was? Because after that, you got past your teammate, there was a big gap between you and Steven to Jensen and Kerzizel.
I think he actually helped me because I was far from the pace of Kerzizel and Jensen. Just because, yeah, it's really not my track. I think so much. I'm just completely losing the rear all the time. So I was actually hoping that my teammate could help him up, Stephen, and he did. And then we could just drag until the finish line.
Yeah, well, I did say he was pretty much a Sergio Perez defensive move just to hold him up to get you involved, and he certainly did throughout the race to the finish. And I think you did get P3 on the track, but I think P4 with penalties, I believe. So commiserations on that. But just congratulations on your top drive as always. Obviously, you said this is not your favourite track, and you got P3 on the track. So hopefully this hasn't made you feel down too much. And now we're coming up to the last race of the season, and it's just pretty much for a laugh for all the drivers. Do you think you can come up on top for that?
I can definitely come on top. I'm quite sure about that. And that's because Abu Dhabi is just my track. It's from no one else. It's just my track.
Well, hopefully you can you will prove that next week. Then hopefully be on top of the podium.
Hopefully, yeah. And I want to say one more thing. Big congrats to Jensen on winning the championship this year. It was an amazing year to race with him as well. Against him, like Mexico, kind of stuff. Monaco. So big congrats to Jensen about the championship.
Yeah, congratulations to him, and good sportsmanship to you two as well. So, yeah, good luck for next week, and well done for your result at the end of the race. And
thank you.
Yeah, and again, good luck for next week, and hopefully there'll be just more fun than it was tonight.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you guys for commentating as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome indeed, and it's not often that Lou gets beat by Osh Steven. Yeah, I'll just let that one lie. We'll go on to Physical finishing at P9 in the end. And Physical, you were up there in the first couple of laps, of course. I think you had a spin as well within that race. Talk us through it, because it probably wasn't the result for you at all.
No, I didn't spin. I just fucked my wing up on lap 1.
Which I think is characteristic of the track, really, getting, of course, too close to the walls. But P9 finish is still at least a point-scoring finish. Do you think you could have got a lot more out of that race?
Not really, no, because as I stated last week, this track is, in my opinion, the worst there is, and I just want it gone, really, so I knew that if I get points, I'm happy, and after what happened on lap 1, I just stopped caring, really, and just went hell for leather and hoped for the best, really.
Yeah, definitely so, and obviously still a point-scoring finish. I mean, probably ran one of the most difficult tracks, bar Belgium, I think, on the game. This is probably the worst track to be around, and obviously, full credit to you, obviously finishing along with the rest of the drivers that have actually finished tonight. Michael, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Unfortunately, not really, because I personally haven't seen much of you after the first lap incident. Commiserations on your position. But you haven't really had the best of season. I think this is definitely the one to forget, because you should be up there for fighting for podiums every race at least. But unfortunately, it's just not been your season, and I don't blame you if this is one of the seasons just to forget, really, and just hope for a fresh start with a new season ahead. But with Abu Dhabi ahead, championship's over, everything's over. It's just pretty much a free race just to have fun. Do you think you can do it well in that and just have a laughs and giggles?
Nah, I'll most likely not even take part in the race. Okay,
well, hopefully you will, for our sake. I'm pretty sure everyone else would like to see you there as well. But yeah, sadly, just commiserations on your race and probably just your season in general. Hopefully you'll get it back on track next season.
I mean,
hopefully.
there is still a slight fight for a P5, but I don't think that's gonna happen even if I turn up.
Well, we can only hope, and hopefully you will turn up and fight for that position. But either way, commiserations on your race and obviously your season, and hopefully you will fight back, not just next week but next season as well.
Yeah, thanks.
And now we'll move on to a man who normally finishes in the points, but of course didn't finish in the points, which I'm afraid to say is the case. T-Hawk finishing in P11, of course, and T-Hawk, not your race today. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I think... I'm not sure if it's true, but I think we and Mantis were probably the only guys that didn't have a race around here yet. So I didn't know what to expect in terms of tire performance, because all my knowledge about this track was purely on time trial, where my car felt beautiful. And then as soon as we went into qualifying, I just felt so much understeer on my car. I tried putting some modding on it, it didn't work out. And that's pretty much just the main theme throughout quali and throughout the race, just massive amounts of understeer, possibly dirty air also having an effect, because the few times where I was behind the car, I just had no grip at all. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that it probably isn't setup-wise, because I did use Jensen's setup, and clearly he didn't have any struggles, so... Yeah, I don't know. I just had no front end today, and could barely make it around the corners.
Yeah, because we saw you obviously, I think, had a moment coming through, I think it was turn 5, if I'm not mistaken, in lap 1. You didn't go into the wall then, you didn't pick up any damage there, did you?
I thought I didn't pick up any damage. I remember going side by side, I think it was with Peta. I'm on this inside. Obviously get the slipstream from all the cars in front of us. Brake like probably 20-30 meters earlier than normal. But still, I just go straight on, hit my teammate. Didn't think that I got any damage, at least no visible damage. Then on the VSC 2 laps later I pitted and the crew still changed my front wing, so seemingly I did have some kind of damage. And yeah, from that point onwards I was just hoping for a safety car, which surprisingly never happened. If you consider the fact that we had last week with 11 drivers, we had like 3 safety cars. And today with 15 drivers, we didn't have a single one, just the VSC. I don't quite get how that's possible, but I guess it's just tough luck. But yeah, as I said, the car was just feeling very, very weird around traffic and over time, just in general, not really pleasant to drive.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think, honestly, what we saw you put in the comment section just before the race, like you were expecting around 5 safety cars in the race. They literally vanished into thin air, I think. There's only that one VSC, as you mentioned. But, obviously, throughout the season, I think you've been a manner of consistency in terms of your points. Obviously, maybe not in terms of the point scoring positions, but in terms of the points, you've been quite consistent. This must be just, surely, a blip in the road going, of course, into next week in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, overall, I really think that the season was quite decent, although some people that think very highly of themselves would tell me to piss off TF2 again, but I think I had quite a decent season, considering that for the first half I didn't really have that much motivation, because I was expecting to leave FRL in December, and for the second half I had an injured foot and couldn't really brake that much, so all things considered I think it was still quite decent. Managed to get some consistency into my races. Today was just, yeah, unfortunate. Hopefully I can do something better in Abu Dhabi, because throughout the season I felt like if I would be able to perform at 100, I could definitely be scoring good points every race. I think P7, P6, that kind of area is where I would be pace-wise if I can just get it all together. So yeah, moving to Abu Dhabi, unfortunately not with the new track layout yet. I don't think they're gonna update it before this game. It's gonna be a bit difficult for us to overtake around there, I believe, despite those 2 long straights. But generally I've done quite decent around there, so hopefully if the car doesn't behave strangely in any way, I should be able to have a decent race there.
Yeah, hopefully so, hopefully so. Hopefully we will get to see you, of course, in the point scoring positions. I think it's just the case of Charlie not commentating maybe has put the curse on it, of course, going into tonight. Michael, I don't think there's anything else to add on that, unless you have anything?
Not really. I don't think I'm his lucky charm anymore, by the looks of it. especially you've asked him about the Abu Dhabi situation. I don't think there's anything really to add, and I just hope the season does come for an end for you, and hopefully just get into a better groove next season, wherever tier you're in.
Yeah, cheers.
We will, of course.
So,
go on.
No, go on. I didn't really have much to say.
I was going to say, we'll of course find out what everyone's placements are going to be, of course, here in FRL Season 14. Thank you very much, Teork. Thanks to everyone, of course, that has joined us for the interviews here tonight. We really do appreciate it, of course. And, with that being said, I can announce exclusively on the FRL F1, I wasn't actually going to do this on the stream tonight, but for FRL F1 next season, you are unfortunately going to be having me as commentator once again.
Shit.
You got it in the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh god.
Can we like pay you to leave us or something like that? Just to get a
Pay me handsomely and we'll talk.
Okay, we'll figure something.
But no, I think after that race tonight in Saudi Arabia, it's always one race that seems to change my mind. I was intending on leaving at the end of the season for FRL, but I think after that race, after Jensen and Kazizel's fantastic battle on the final lap, and I think after what everyone has been saying in terms of my commentary so far on FRL, you'd love to see me back for another season. So there you go, you've got me back for another season. I really hope you are very happy with that news. And hopefully we might have a full-time co-commentator alongside me, either Michael or Charlie or somebody else that might step into the breach as well. But yes, I'm back next season for season 14, and I couldn't think of anywhere else to be than in my home, of course, in FRL, where I actually started off commentary in the first place. And I think with that, and without me rambling on a little bit too much and taking up most of the stream towards the end, I think that is it for tonight. Big well done, of course, to Jensen for wrapping up the championship. Absolutely deserved, dominant performance throughout the season. He also gets my driver of the day. Michael, your driver of the day is?
Yeah, it's got to be Jensen after that fantastic little switcheroo on the last corner that I wasn't expecting. So yeah, fantastic driver of the day for me also.
Yeah, if anybody, by the way, is tuning in, the race is finished, but I will tell you pretty much what happened in these 3 lines. Wrapped up the championship in dominant style and Jeddah whilst overcoming sustained pressure from a Shazoo teammate Kazizel in one of the best laps of the season, of any season, in FRL. And I think that's just a summary of what happened, I think, in that race. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like the stream, of course, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new. And we, of course, will be back next week to take you through the final round of Season 13, F3 and F4, of course, 7 PM UK time, F1 and F2, 7 PM UK time on Tuesday. We hope to see you there. But for myself, for Michael, from everyone else here in the interviews room, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.